Hello guys, I believe we are live. Finally, after 2 or 3 days of not going live, we are finally back. Let me just make sure here, but I think we are. My phone always takes a little bit more, but at least I get the chat. Okay, perfect. And it seems like video is okay, chat is okay, sound is okay, so we can get started. So, pretty awesome day yesterday. If you have not made money and you were in my Discord, I would say, what are you doing? Because yesterday we had two absolute perfect trades. I mean, of course, we had the trades from higher. So we had that short trade from 97,000, from changing the market structure and from losing that point of control. And that was our trigger for the short trade. We then had another short trade at 93,190. This was an insane risk to reward short trade. The entry that I had sent was exactly right here, 190. Stop loss above the high, and from there, massive fall down. I made about 12,000 off of these trades. And then yesterday, we had yet another short trade right here, always an SFP. And from there, massive drawdown. My target was exactly this naked point of control on the monthly time frame, the daily level. Look at that respect on the 30 minutes, just absolutely perfect. As soon as we got that change in market structure, I took a long here. And we are obviously now making money. That's already a 1-to-6 risk to reward. Right now, we're kind of just ranging right here, as you can see, and we still haven't taken the highs. I do think the highest probability is to go and take the highs. So perhaps what we could see right now, we would have to wait 15 more minutes. Maybe if you don't have a long trade, I would try to trade this range, wait for the close back inside, try to trade it to the other side of the range, hopefully taking these highs. That would still give you a nice trade. Let's assume something like this. Already to the other side of the range would be almost a 1-to-3. And then you can try to take this for higher, because I do feel like higher is coming. There's a lot of liquidity here that needs to be taken. So that's first of all. Also, I remind you, if there are some tokens that you want to look at, today I have some time, we can look at whatever you want. So I'm going to show you real quick. As you can see on my Bybit account, I have $3,000 closed right here and 1.7K that is still open on my short trade, which was really amazing. As you can see, that was the exact entry. No, sorry, as you can see, that was the exact entry right here at 93,190 with that stop loss literally above here. So this was our trade, as I already explained. That is a nothing. And you can understand how this can literally make me, I mean, at the moment it's making me 4.6. It actually had reached 6,000 yesterday. So that's pretty crazy. Then on my BitUnix account, I also had that short trade, which has now been closed, and I'm only in the long trade now. I made 4,000 on that other short trade. So yeah, for now I'm staying in both the short and the long at the same time, which is not an issue. Because whatever, if I get stopped out here, first of all, I basically lose nothing because I've already realized 25% of the trade. If instead we proceed and I make money off the short, if instead we proceed for a full reversal, I get stopped out of the short around here. But in the meantime, I have made money on this long. I'm a little bit more exposed to the long side. As you can see, I have 0.5 Bitcoin long and I have 0.4 Bitcoin short, on which once again I already realized most of the profits. So yeah, for today I would say that we need to be patient. I was looking, to be honest, for a trade entry on Ethereum, which I think this is the trade I was looking at yesterday. It would have played out perfectly, but with all the things that were happening, I just did not have the time to take this trade because I was longing, shorting Bitcoin. It was just a mess. But if we get that reclaim here, so I'm going to set an alert. I do think that we can definitely also look for an entry on Ethereum. There was one on Solana as well, which I missed, which was that 124 level. But that's okay. So if I can get, for example, a retest of this level, that would be nice. I'm going to see how the market reacts here, but I think Ethereum has a good opportunity. Let me see. Yeah, so already here would be nice. I just want to wait for that reaction. I need Bitcoin to reclaim. Another thing I want to show you, because at the moment I am making just $2,000 on this. So I gave this long trade on NEO. This is the stock market. I sold out of my position at around $7, and I've been waiting for months for NEO to come down here. We have finally hit the target. We hit that point of control. We slightly front run the daily, but I did open about $35,000 right here. We had the perfect retest as well, as you can see right there. And from there, we just had a massive move of about 6%. So I am at the moment making $2,000 on this, and I'm expecting for price to continue towards 4.9. Are you going to compound long if there is a good setup upcoming at 88? I don't plan on it for now. I rather trade Ethereum at this point. So for example, if we get that set up here, I rather trade this. For adding the long on Bitcoin, I'm gonna check the CME pair, see if we have anything interesting coming up. So let's see. What could we see on Bitcoin? We could see the value area low, because this low is good. As you can see, this low right here was good. The same high was also good right here off of that short trade. Here we still have the high is all right, but it's very close to this one. And I would say that this needs to be taken out again. So if we can drop first and put in the low right here, this is fine. This doesn't need to be revisited. And then we can look for that shift higher. Yeah, I would say at least for a new high. But once again, we need to be patient and see what Bitcoin does first, because if this keeps on falling, we're not gonna get our entry. And as you can see, unless we get that fake out of the range, there's nothing to do here. And the only problem is that with the news that came out yesterday, this has no support. So price right now could easily just keep on falling, because there's nothing, just when this rises so quick, it can fall just as quick. So that's the only thing we need to be careful about. Let's see if there's single prints actually. Okay, so there is no single prints, which is good. But yeah, I would say it's gonna be around 88.5 on the CME, which would be, I'm not sure what it would be on this one. Probably a little bit more of a downfall. So anyways, we'll only get that trigger once price action trades back above here. So let's set an alert here. I will also check the order flow for you guys. First, I'm going to check on TradingView, then I will double check on Exo charts. So what is happening here? These are just, we have the delta going down, open interest. We had the open interest going down, the delta being negative. So that means it's just longs getting liquidated. So no shorts getting stuck. Okay, anyways, as I said, the plan is pretty clear for today for those who are not in a long already, and for those who also want to take an intraday trade, this is going to be the trade. For lower, I would say, I have a feeling that if we come down too much, we're going to keep falling. I kind of want this to be the low, because this was put in yesterday at market open. On the TPO, it looks good. So once again, why would I want to see that low being taken? I want this to be finished business if I want to see that reversal. How do you close partial? Can you explain your strategy there? Thanks. Right. So here's how I do it typically. I'll use the trade from yesterday. So yesterday I was short on Bitcoin. Let's take this example here. Actually, you know what? Let's take this example. Here, what I would typically do is pretty simple. First of all, we clearly have a range here. So if you really want to trade this perfectly, what you want to do is take your first take profit at the range low. So this whole downfall, you wouldn't have to touch your position until here. Now I don't remember exactly when I took profit here, but it was either at the low of this range, maybe I took about 10%, because also you have to consider here, you can see that reversal. But if there was no reaction here, chances are, again, I don't really remember correctly, but chances are that I did not take profit here, and my first take profit was actually right here. So right here, I'm probably going to take around 25%. By this time, even if we reverse here, if we do something like that, this 25%, which has now made, I'm guessing 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 1 to 5 risk to reward, should cover that stop loss and should actually even result in profit if we get stopped out. Then the next take profits I'm going to take, they're going to be based on other levels, for example, other lows, whatever I have, some horizontal levels I have, some anchor VWAPs I have from lower. And then my final target was 87. At 87, I take off another, for example, 50%. So here I didn't take anything off because my my target was not reached. Oh, sorry, actually here I had a weekly level and a daily negative point of control. So here I also took some more profit, I believe around 25%. And then the majority of my long I closed here. So here I had a total of 1.75 Bitcoin to start. And by the time I get to my final target, which is not really a final target, but for more of like an intraday type of trade, that's where I already took off, let's say 70 to 80% of the trade. The rest, I let it run because I considered that there's a swing trade here. So with a swing trade, if we keep on falling, and I do still think it's possible, by the way, that we have a full reversal. If this is not the low, I do think it's possible that we go and take that 80,000. So I still want to have some exposure to the downside. I don't mind taking longs to hedge this, because if I'm wrong and we don't see that reversal to 80,000, I still want to be exposed. So at these levels where I think that a reversal is possible, I will take that long trade and I will just let this run. So now I'm probably not going to take profit until we see a bigger drop, and I will just, the take profit will be my long. So this is basically like taking profit, except that I can have a higher time frame bearish perspective, and therefore I can take a long on the lower time frame, make money off of this, close this when I'm in profit. Let's say I close 1.5k, and in the meantime I am keeping a wide invalidation on this, just so that in case we keep on falling, I can keep making money. So that way I might close my trade, my long trade, let's say above 91,000. This doesn't get stopped out. By the time I close my long trade, this reverses and I still make money. Okay, I hope that is clear. But yeah, so again, we have 4 minutes left for this candle to close. Hopefully we can get that closure above. Order flow is not looking great. I'm gonna check my own XO charts, so stick with me right here. You're not gonna be able to see that, but I'll walk you through it. Whilst it loads, we can start looking at the chat. Does your strategy work on stock market as well? And where can we find more details about it? Looking for a mentor and strategy I can learn, follow. You look legit. Thank you, I appreciate the message. So actually, I made a video today, which will release probably earlier today or tomorrow. And it's called my Miro board. Let me find it, Miro, where I actually walk through my whole framework right here. And once again, I made a whole video about this, which is going to release on my YouTube. This explains my whole framework, how I use it, and exactly the steps that you need to follow in order to follow this strategy. And at the end of the video, you'll find like all the links you need to find. But also already, if you go in the description of this video, you're gonna find my Discord community, and then that is where I do everything for free, where I send signals for free, where I go live for free. And then if you want to take it to the next level, what you're gonna want to do is basically sign up for the mentorship. I only take some students for this mentorship. You can reach out on Discord, and this is how I mentor. Of course, this has a cost, but the first 4 lectures, they're completely free. And that is where I explain most of the core concepts of my strategy. However, I don't cover, the more advanced stuff such as order flow, naked point of controls, etc., etc. But if you want to learn that, there is the possibility to do that. So you just need to get in contact with me. You'll find the links down below. But anyways, back to the chart. We can assure you he is 100% legit. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Doge. So someone wants to look at Doge. And sorry guys, I'm gonna turn off this light because it's really messing up with my eyes. So Dogecoin, I believe I have this in my no, I don't, so we're gonna have to look for that. Doge USDT .p. So let's see what we have here. Higher time frame. Remember, we always start from the higher time frames to look for our horizontal levels. There is I cannot understand that, it seems to be touched. All right, so we have a monthly level down here, which can be interesting if we go and fill that wick. And I'll explain that in a minute. So we have that monthly, and we have a lower monthly here. Then, what else do we have? We can take this also. We now ran into another weekly level, which we are bouncing from at this moment. And then we have one above. That one's been tapped. So we have a weekly, we have a daily. And by the way, I do not use the naked point of controls when I trade altcoins. I have realized that you don't really need them. You can add them for confluence, but it's just more complicated with tick sizes to get all of them, etc., etc. They're not always accurate, so I don't particularly like to use them. But once again, you can totally do that. So this is what we have. We have more of a local range here. I'm gonna take this. Okay, we're out of this, which is not very good. I would say here, first of all, technically what we would look for here is a short trade because the structure is not great. Also here, nothing really makes me think we could have that, you know, SFP that we typically have from this low. We could look for that bounce on the daily value area low, but it's already been tested. So I don't feel like this is gonna turn this way. I mean, we do have some liquidity up here. So of course we can look at this as a range. I'm just not feeling too confident about this because the market structure keeps going down. And we did have, of course, on this daily, we did get some sort of market structure shift, but the fact that we gave it all back here, as you can see, like we're way below the retest area. I feel like that this is not going to be a good trade for a long trade. We can check the reaction. If we get the trigger here, we can attempt a long, but I feel like the chances are that this will fail. But again, we can check what happens here. I would probably be more interested in looking for a short on a bounce to then go and fill that wick. And this wick that we have here, that's where we could have actually a really nice reaction on the lower time frame. Because typically when these wicks get filled, and for example, we get that bounce on the monthly. Sorry, let me delete this app here. It's just bouncing. That is where we might see, for example, that grab of liquidity, hit of the monthly, and then that reversal. Still, I would not expect this to have a full reversal, to be honest. I don't think this is going to go back to, for example, 50 cents. But we can definitely still have, for example, a nice 10-20% pump from here, right? Or maybe 30%. So this is definitely a level that I'm going to be interested in, and I'm going to set an alert. This, I'll set an alert for this range low. But again, I'm not so interested in that. And we can see from the top what we have. Okay, anchor VWAPs don't want to work today. I would say for a short trade, this is similar to what Bitcoin has as a structure, by the way, these highs right here. We could look for, let me check again what we have here. Okay, we have a very interesting daily level just above the point of control. Sorry, just lining up with the point of control. So let's remove this. I'm not even going to consider this long, to be honest. Once again, I'll check the reaction, but I don't want to keep it there because it's not my main interest. And again, this weekly seems like it's been respected so far on the daily and on the 4 hours as well. And you know, you could look for, I would say maybe this as a local range with the wick, filling the wick, hitting the daily, hitting the value area low. And yeah, sure, that can be nice. It's just, I feel like we need to take those lows first. There would be no point in bouncing here. Okay, so I would say at least you need to take these. You need to touch that daily level, and then you need to wait for that reclaim. Like that, you have that trigger. Now for the short trade, I think there's an interesting level. However, that would require for a pump to 16 cents, which is totally possible. Perhaps we can grab this low, trade this back up to 16 cents, take the liquidity here, take the liquidity that we have above these highs. Perhaps we can get that fake out above. Once we lose it, we change market structure, we backtest that daily, then we can have, in my opinion, a nice short to continue this set of lower high, lower high, lower high, and why not put a lower high right here? This is going to trick some people. It's going to make them think that this might have that full reversal, but I feel like if we can get this exact move that I explained, we can get that move back down below. So I would say we might have that long into a short. So I would say something like this to then fill that wick. And then here, you know, we can look for another long trade. That would be my idea. Of course, we always wait for reactions. We don't like blindly trade these levels. By the way, I think NEO is pumping. Wow, look at that nice 4%. And that is getting close to my target where I would like to take some profit. And I could, to be honest. By the way, I want to show you this trade. So as you can see right here, this one is a little bit fucked. So you're not going to see it super clearly. But we got that exact low. I don't know if this is, if you're seeing this right now. I'm going to check it where I would like to. But yeah, we're up 2,000 euros on this. I sent this 2 days ago, I think. And it seems like we might have gotten the low. Now we do have to monitor that reaction at the anchor VWAP that we have here, because as we all know, this is a very, very strong level. Look at what happened last time that we hit that anchor VWAP, which is when people were like, oh, we might have missed the low on NEO. That was probably the low. And I was just confident. And I even have a video where I said this. I was really confident that if we rejected here, we would see that move down back below to this level. So yeah, I'm probably going to be taking that take profit soon. Actually, I'll just take it now because I don't want to interrupt the live again. So I am going to take 25% on my NEO trade, which is 2,000 shares. So I'm out of this position now with 25% and I'm letting the rest run. So perfect. I took $500 of profit, and now if my stop loss gets hit, I only lose 700, which means that I am risk-free on this trade now. So I have about 25,000 of a position, which is risk-free. So hopefully this keeps running, maybe towards 5.4, maybe to back to 6, etc., etc. And I'm just gonna keep making money with zero risk. That is exactly what we want. So again, we are now hitting into that anchor VWAP. And for those people that took it, this is take profit 1. And by the way, this already like this, it's a, I believe it's a 1 to 3, maybe. That's already a 1 to 3. So there you have it. As you can see, people were asking before, does this work on stocks? Does this work on crypto? This works on everything. This works on gold. This works on Nvidia. We've had crazy trades on Nvidia. I still have that open on my phone. I can show you later. This works on gold. This literally works on everything. I would say for me personally, this works better on crypto. This is where I like to use it. And now look, we're having that nice reaction on Ethereum. I'm gonna wait a little bit more. I'm gonna wait for a lower time frame change in market structure and a retest in order to take this. I don't have too much urge to take this because I'm already exposed. I have a lot of spot positions on this, but this can be a very interesting area, I think. 30 minutes doesn't look the best, but I don't really care because this is what looks good. So, you know, maybe we see a little bit more. So I'm gonna wait for either a range to form and then a SFP on the lower time frame. Something like this would be nice, hitting that 2,920, moving back above, and then we can have that nice trade. Maybe you can wait for that value area low to be reclaimed, and then first we can target value area high, which would give us a 1 to 3.5, and then, you know, we can eventually turn this into a swing trade if it decides to run. So that's very nice, I would say. So Doge please, we did that, and WLD. WLD we already traded and we had an insane trade. So that was the trade that we had. I did close this trade. Okay, that was the trade right here, which did it like a 1 to 25. I made quite a lot of money on this considering the amount that I was risking. And then I was talking about the rejection at this point of control. No, sorry, that is not the point of control. At this value area high, which clearly is where we rejected from. I don't know why I have another trade. I don't remember if I called this trade. I would hope so, because that looks nice. And that does look like the type of trade that I would take. I just don't remember calling it. But clearly, the retest would have worked very well too. So very simple here. You had that bigger market structure shift. You have that retest of the 618, 666, and from there, absolute fall. Now, we did have another SFP of that low, but I'm not going to trade this again. I'm not really interested in these type of things. Let me see. I mean, we can look, but this looks weak, to be honest, and this is a big wick. I have a feeling we're going to feel that. I would say maybe the best thing to do here is to be patient. We are retesting it. That looks like a nice retest, to be honest. But hitting it once, twice, we could find that, you know, one more move down, taking these lows on more of a local range that we have here, trade it to the other side, and then if it keeps pumping, nice. But I have a feeling, once again, if we have to do this, why not just fill the wick? So I would say maybe the best option is to wait for that fill of the wick. And I would say the best way to do it, to be more conservative, is to wait for the reclaim of these lows and then take the trade up here. It's going to be much more of a distant trade in terms of the stop loss, but it's a much more secure trade because then you would have a massive filled auction. You will have stopped out the early longs, and I feel like not many people are going to be here in this trade. And this can still, if we get that full range rotation, this can still result in a 1 to 5. So that would be nice. Yes, great. Thank you. I always have problem with greed. Hoping hedging still not my favorite. Yeah, it's hedging is definitely way more advanced. But once you learn it, it kind of helps because it stops you from taking profit too early. And yeah, sometimes you just have to let your trades run, and it's better to hedge them at places that it's not where it's likely to have a reversal. Now, we are trying to get back above this low. The thing is, if we don't reclaim it, I would say that we might just flip this range into resistance and look for that further drop. So yeah, I'm gonna be patient and I'm gonna wait. What you can do to be aggressive is wait for a 1 minute market structure shift. So for example, right here, if you want to be really aggressive, the market structure shift on the 1 minute is going to be right here. You're going to see that move above, retest. If you stay once again above this, the lows from here, then you can take the aggressive way, right? This is definitely going to be valid. This might come soon, but until at least a 1 minute market structure shift does not happen, which means I want to see at least this lower high being taken out like this and holding a higher low right here, then I don't think there's a point in trading this at all. So yeah, I hope I'm saving you from taking useless trades. Can we take a look at Pippin? Yes. So as you guys know, I am kind of, I don't want to flex or anything, but I'm kind of the king of Pippin. We have basically predicted so many times. I don't have the trades now, but you know, if you're in the Discord, you perfectly know this. I believe we longed this we shorted this and then we longed this once again, which might not look like a lot, but if you take the low right here, that was still a 30% to the upside. I don't remember exactly, but maybe I even shorted this. Yeah, actually I did. No, I shorted this right here. I remember it was Christmas Day and I got that. But yeah, anyways, let's see what we have now. So this harmonic pattern clearly did not work. I mean, kind of did, but not completely. We are getting to that D target, but this doesn't really look right anymore, because that would look something like this. And as you can see, this doesn't make sense anymore. But basically, by the way, this trade was not a loss. This trade was actually a win, because I was looking for that retest. I was saying, I think we put in that C. We can look for that retest long right here, which we got. And my entry was literally right here. And even though this might not look like it was a nice trade, this still gave a 1 to 2. And I remember taking profit on this. Maybe, I think I got stopped out of this break even probably. But yeah, let's see if we have another opportunity, because when this runs pretty hard. So it can be nice to make some money off of this. And actually, I am pretty sure that my last trade, yeah, see, there it is, Pippin short $600. So I even re-shorted this. I don't know where. I'm guessing somewhere here. Maybe off of this. I don't know. Anyways, what we have here. I would say it's kind of hard to trade along here. We would have to look for a short. Just this price action is not looking as good anymore. We're gonna clean this up and see what we have. Let's see. Okay, we do have this value area high coming up here, which is interesting. We do have this high, lower high, lower high. Why not put a lower high here? That is the first thing I'm thinking. Now we're going to check some anchor VWAPs from the absolute high. That one has been taken. Do we have anything more? Nope. So, I mean, on the daily, the anchor VWAP still looks good. On the 4 hours, it also still looks good. We hit the level, as you can see. We rejected. We did an SFP on the 4 hours. What I don't like is the front run of this value area high. This would have been a very valid short. If you got that hit there, closed back below, then I would be in a short with the stop loss above here. The only thing kind of stopping me at the moment is this value area high right here. But if you want to take your chances, I would say wait for another close below this anchor VWAP, because if you reclaim this anchor VWAP, I think we can run at least to this value area high. So this trade would get invalidated. But if we start shifting market structure here, as you can see here, we flip that anchor VWAP on the 30 minutes. I would say if we start to lose this, something like this, breaking that structure, retesting it, then you can definitely have that short trade here. If not, I would say wait for that tap. So you want to wait for one more move up here, get an SFP, hit this value area high. I'm thinking that there's probably other levels as well. You want to wait for that loss of the anchor VWAP. And I would say in this case, then you have an even more short trade. Stop loss above here, and we can look for this to be all reversed. I mean, of course, we're going to take profit at the point of control. We're going to take profit at the very low. We're going to take profit below these lows, and then we're going to let this run for more. That would be my plan. And let's see if there's more to see here. Okay, monthly, we don't have anything. This just looks really bullish on the monthly time frame. Weekly level is coming up higher at 51 cents. So there's nothing lining up here as well. Weekly, daily. We also do have that daily level. So that is even more confluence. So I would definitely think that this is a good level. Once again, I already explained exactly what I want to see. So I don't think I need to be more clear. The nice thing is that that daily level has been hit. So to be honest, we don't have to hit that value area high. Now that I saw this daily. And again, if we get that 30-minute shift, I will take this. I just want to see that anchor VWAP being lost because I know how powerful these things are. I mean, this is a clear resistance into support flip. You even got the back test. This can easily just run up to that weekly, right? So we want to make sure to get some signs of weakness. And that for me is what it means. Considering also that Bitcoin is looking a bit more bullish, I would say that it's not smart to take it yet. Now, if Bitcoin loses this range and starts to fall, then yeah. So that's what it is. But if you want to take your chances already, you can definitely do that. I just want to be a little bit more conservative. I think we can, actually, I don't know. I was going to say, I think we can get that entry, but typically with these tokens, once you start that fall, it's unlikely to really get into that back test. So sometimes you just have to be aggressive. So again, you want to take it now, take it. What if I have to make a prediction, I would say it's going to look something like this. And then we're going to have that retest here. This would make sense. Let me see. Yeah, I would say, I would say maybe something like this. This would make sense. So 30 minutes, right? We have this structure clearly. If we break down here, break this low, I feel like we can bounce around this level. Let's assume we bounce exactly here. On this retest, if we get that, since this is a strong level to a support, we can get that retest here on the anchor VWAP. That's going to be my trade. Then I think we can really have a nice trade here. So yeah, this is exactly my plan. Okay, that is it for Pippin. So I'm going to set an alert here. And I'm going to set, I don't need to set this yet. But yeah, as I said, the only thing which has happened with this token, as you can see, sometimes this just takes off and it does not give you any retests to actually get into your positions. So, you know, this could start happening to this instead of a slow thing. This would be a gift, in my opinion, because it would be such an easy short trade. Can it fail? Of course it can, but the chances that this fails are quite low. Or let's say the chances that this works out are higher than the chances that it fails. But again, if you want to be aggressive, you do have that 5-minute market structure shift. You can see that you had that retest as well. So if you want to be in the short trade, it is definitely doable. But again, I'm not going to take it. Just because I've been trading a lot, and honestly, I don't need to be chasing trades and taking higher risk trades. But if this happens, I will take it. What do you think about an AVAX spot accumulation? Is it too soon? So I've talked about this in the past. The only things that I'm holding spot is Solana, AVAX, SUI, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I have some very small bags here, which have lost most of the value. Doesn't make sense. To be honest, if I could go back, I would not buy AVAX in spot because this looks terrible. Let's be honest. There's this big wick that could be filled. We could see a movement all the way down to 8. It's totally possible. And this gives no signs of strength. Now, we've seen AVAX in the past do things such as moving from, you know, this was just 2 years ago, $8 all the way up to $60. So it's definitely possible, which is why at this point, after being down quite a bit, because my average entry is like 27 in spot, I don't mind holding this. I still have like $30,000-$40,000 in this because I did accumulate down here. I bought some actually at like 9. But yeah, so would I buy right now? I don't know, because this is looking weak. Until there's like a nice change in market structure, I wouldn't buy. If you're already in positions, perhaps I would hold. But I always say, like, I rather not hold anything, to be honest. Other than Ethereum and Bitcoin and Solana, I would say that most of these altcoins, they're just always, SUI is fine, but most of these altcoins, they're just been going down and down, and it's just been terrible. By the way, I missed a short trade on Tau for a little bit. So yeah, I would say no, it wouldn't make sense to buy. It makes sense to try trades because, you know, like, let me give you an example. I'm probably down like 15,000 on AVAX. If I used that 15,000 to attempt a couple of shorts here and a couple of longs, I can guarantee you that, first of all, even if I took, let's say, a bit of losses, I would definitely not be losing 15,000. The chances are that I would actually be in profit. The problem is that when you hold in spot, you stop checking the price. You're just holding for the long term, and typically you don't even realize, but you know, within one day, this happened in one day on the 10th of October. This shit was at $30. I don't remember exactly how many AVAX I'm holding, but at $30, my bag was probably almost 100,000. Within a day, I saw my holding go from 100,000 to 1/3 of that, so 30,000. You know, you just, and then from there, even if it bounced back up to, let's say, 80,000, from there it's just been falling slowly. It's called like a slow bleed, you know, and from there lost another 50% of the value. So as I said, now my bag is worth probably 40,000. And yeah, I mean, I'm saying it's worth 40,000 because I added here. I didn't actually lose from 100,000 that was worth here to here, because I also did sell a little bit. But yeah, so I'm kind of against holding altcoins. I've held them in the past bull runs. I've made some nice money. I've made hundreds of thousands on Rune. I've made a lot of money on some of them, Ethereum, etc., etc. Not Farfetch, Fetch, right here. I've made money on this, but typically just holding, unless you are good and you're, you know, monitoring the charts, the chances that you actually get out at the top is very unlikely. Like, for example, I did sell a lot of my bag of Solana at around 35. You can go back on my IG stories, you can see that. I even had a short actually. So yeah, again, you have to be good. If you're just buying and holding for the next 20 years, I would say it doesn't make sense. So once again, look at Bitcoin. It didn't have that reclaim that I was talking about, and now we are falling. So there was no trigger to enter this long trade. We never had that market structure shift. We were never able to get above these highs. Therefore, this was not valid. And we lost that range, and we are now falling. Now, Pippin, we can check if that is following through as well. Because now if that has been lost on Pippin, we can look, and there it is. It seems like we're now losing this. I would love to see a little bit more of a drop. How much is that? 2%. Okay, listen. If this closes below the anchor VWAP, you can be aggressive and you can take this already, just because I don't know if we're gonna get this retest. So does it change a lot if we get that? Yeah, that would be much nicer, because you now have that confirmation of market structure shift, which you don't have here. This is called an aggressive entry. You can definitely take that and you can try to make money off of that, but I feel like the chances of getting stopped out are higher. But with Bitcoin being weak, you know, you can try your luck. Also, last stock in which I'm very interested, Riot. Thank you very much, Riot. I think this is a Bitcoin mining thing. Am I wrong? I think it is. I remember trading this when I was like 16. So Riot is in this big range. It is still going to the upside. This is not looking great, because if we wanted to see that move back above 27 and then potentially back to 40, we should have reclaimed this value area high, which clearly had a fake out. So also off of this fake out, you could have had a short trade. First time you would have gone and stopped out. Second, actually no, you wouldn't have gone and stopped out, but this would have been the short trade from rejecting that value area high. And then here also, this is a bit complicated. Let's see what we have here. Okay, I actually like this stock. It seems like it respects a bit of technical analysis. Anchor VWAP's not looking good. Did we take this liquidity here? Yeah, so that was probably one of the most obvious trades looking back. So you clearly had this high, you SFP the high, you have that failed auction. That's a very easy short trade. You could trade this continuation up, but I don't like how the point of control has not been taken. These are just higher lows. We now probably are getting that retest. I would say this is more likely to still get a bit more of a fall down towards at least $11 on the higher time frame, especially after this retest. Unless we can flip this anchor view up into support, then maybe we can see that continuation up, and then maybe if we reclaim that value area high, you can find this at $30 and above. Other than that, I would say I'm not really interested in this. I mean, okay, this is interesting. This I might be interested in. I doubt I'm gonna trade it, but this could be interesting. So just retesting that point of control, tapping the 0.72, taking out this liquidity. You could look for a long there, but you would need for this anchor view up to be lost. Again, Ethereum, as you can see, with Bitcoin being weak, no reaction, no need to take this trade. So let's see if there's a reaction here, but I might go for these new lows actually. And by the way, check this out. My trade here, which was making $700, actually was making 1 point something here. It is now making way less money, but my short trade, if you remember at the start of the stream, was making 1.4. It's now making 2,000, or maybe it was 1.6. I don't remember. So yeah, that is why it's nice to hedge. Where did I learn all of this? With time, some YouTube, some mentors, some right people to follow at the time. And then, you know, lots of experience, lots of losing money. I've been doing this now for 8 years. XMR chart next. Okay, I'm gonna check XMR and I'm gonna check River, and then that's it. Then I'm gonna call this a day. Let's see, XMR. No, that's not the right one. XMR USDT.P. XMR is the one that I think we talked about and that I had said somewhere. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I had called for a big dump on this. I was saying I don't like to trade these things. It doesn't make sense. Pretty sure I could find it, but I don't want to waste time. Anyways, yeah, this is going to be very hard to trade. Could this have been predicted? Let's see, maybe. Of course, it's going to be a little bit easier. I'm just looking for some targets here. It's hard to even understand what the waves are here. 1, 2, maybe this. Kind of on the daily. Yeah, you know, you could say that that was the target and that was predictable, but could just be a coincidence. So I don't know. Anyways, let's see what we have. Let's see if we can actually find something interesting. I highly doubt it. Monthly all the way down here. Okay. I think with these tokens, what you need to do is try to trade the trend. So obviously it's up. On whatever pullback you get, you try an entry. But after you get such a pullback, I don't know, not my favorite thing. That's a 37%. So So, you know, we would need probably another 20% down here, making it 60% for that reversal, possibly. But you got to consider that this is very risky. Let's see if this respected this in the past. I mean, this happens. You can see that here. You had the nice 45% retracement and then a massive pump. Could we see the same here? Big retracement, massive pump from there. Possible. I don't know why this is running so much, to be honest. This is such an old token. But yeah, let's see. Daily. We have some here. Daily. Here as well. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, I would say, let's check also the volume that we got on this big run up. Interesting. This is an area that I think needs to hold up because, okay, to be honest, I do really like this level 450. I'm going to set an alert there, 450 to 417. We have the anchor VWAP from the low. Maybe we have something more coming from here. It's just, this has just been so up that it's so hard to actually get some levels. I also really like the 275. Like, I think this is going to be a good opportunity if it comes all the way down here. We don't have to worry about this now, but that's really interesting. And I would say the other interesting level is going to be here. This is more of a local thing. Let's say losing this value area high. Lots of people are going to get bearish. If we get a nice bounce here and reclaim that, I think we can have that nice run. And that would trigger that long trade. So something like that. Let me clean this up so it's a bit more clear. You do also have that Fibonacci level. I'm just going to remove it. And I'm also going to remove this daily here. But I think something like this can be nice and can work out. Of course, you can be aggressive if, for example, we range and we get an SFP. So if this is our trigger, right? Something like this, SFP on the weekly, close back above, then of course that's even better. You do got to consider that you just re-entered value area high, so you could just see this, which is why I was saying before that the best thing would be to reclaim this level. But this definitely gives you, if this works out, that much better risk to reward. So you have two options. The more aggressive one, which I would probably prefer, because even if this happens, you're still getting, you know, that 1 to 2, you can take profit, and this can probably be risk-free. Or you would have to be more conservative, wait for the reclaims, and then have something that looks more like this. But then at this point, chances are that this will play out. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Can we look for a short trade? We could. I don't think it's the best option. I mean, if we get a nice pump, maybe to here, we can potentially take a short trade. See what happens. Let's see if that matches also with some of this. No. So, not so interested in this, to be honest. Let me check this. I don't know. This doesn't really make sense. It's definitely possible. Maybe even to take out 400 and then see that reversal. Honestly, this is interesting. Could you check LTC? USD seems to be strong compared to other odds. Yeah, we'll do that one too. Retracement lines, they are based on corrections. So if we consider that this is an impulsive wave, we can look for a correction, which is typically like an ABC. This is Elliott waves theory. I don't really use them, to be honest, just to help with context here. But you would have the correction wave like this, A, B, and C, which typically comes to a 1-to-1. And then from there, you can look for that other wave. Because if we consider, for example, this to be, for example, let's say, it's just, this is kind of complicated. I mean, honestly, this kind of actually makes sense. If I take back the extensions that I had from before, I'm not going to consider all that. I'm actually going to put this in log scale. Sorry, just 1 second. This is just me guessing something to help me understand. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is not really valid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This can be wave 1. And again, guys, I haven't done Elliott waves in a while. But, and this doesn't really make sense because that's the longest. So I would have to consider it from further. There's so many things. This is why I don't really like Elliott waves. Because technically I shouldn't consider the low from here. But I feel like, sorry, why is that 4 there? Let's say 4 being put here. This can't be the longest, so I would have to consider 0 from, let's say, which again doesn't really make sense, but I'm just thinking out the box here. And considering that that target actually kind of worked. No, where was it? From here? No, I don't remember how I got that target. But anyways, yeah, this doesn't really make sense, to be honest. I don't typically use this, but I was just looking in terms of waves that, you know, this can be the first impulsive wave. That is clearly an ABC retracement there for wave 2. That's clearly a wave 3. And then once again, you would have another ABC to put in that 4th wave to then bring this higher. Unless this was a 5th wave, but could we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? This honestly could also be the 5th wave to then have that bigger retracement. So it could be that we are in a reversal, because you could also consider this as like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to have to review this. I'm going to have to review the rules of Elliott waves as well, because I kind of forgot how to take the extensions. But yeah, I'm going to check this out actually, because this can be very interesting. Because if this is wave 3 instead of 5, and this is a nice ABC correction, then I do think it's very possible that we can catch a very nice long trade off of this. So I'll check this later after reviewing some stuff, and I'll send it in the Discord. But yeah, I wouldn't look for shorts. I would look for longs, to be honest, around this area. It bounced at the 7-8. I don't know. I don't really like this structure. We lost the value area though. I would say I would only take that trade if we reclaim 2,950. Maybe I would take it. Depends on Bitcoin. What time zone do you use? Like my daily volume profile is different in New York time zone and in Asia time zone. Do you use UTC? Yeah, I use UTC. But the reason why your TPO is going to be different is probably because if you go here and you go here, oh, actually here I'm UTC -5. Yeah, okay, makes sense. Yeah, you just have to adjust each session, right? So if now I'm on -5, which is the New York time, I'm gonna put the sessions according to New York time. So just make sure that the two things actually fit with each other. Okay. XMR is pumping because it's the best privacy coin and privacy is trending right now. And that perpetual chart is not the complete chart. Exchanges don't list privacy coin that much. I chart XMR on spot. No, I don't like to chart on spot. Same thing for Bitcoin. So I don't mind looking too much back. I think that was enough information to chart personally. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. If you want to look at more data, of course, it makes sense to go spot and check the old data as well. Okay, last one I'm gonna do, and then I'm cutting this off, guys. LTC USDT. No, that's Binance. Okay, so we never got that short trade. That was my target that I had given, I guess, a couple of days ago. 4 or 5 days ago, and we're clearly reaching that, but I don't think I have interest here because once again we have that wick that could be filled. Of course, that is still range value area low on that weekly, which I had ignored from the wick, but I'm not going to trade this, and to be honest, I'm not interested in anything here. There's just too much choppiness. So still interested in that short trade if we get it, even more now as we have all this. So I would say this is now gonna be my interest if, for example, we can bounce actually here on that weekly. Of course, you can attempt that long, right? If you want to attempt the long there, I'm not gonna attempt it. I feel like it's not gonna hold, but if it does, then this would line up very well with a potential short up here, and I will be interested in this to then go and fill that wick. So this I'm interested in. If you want to take if you want to risk it and also try to trade it up, you're very welcome to. Once again, I'm probably not gonna take this trade. Okay, now Bitcoin's having those reclaims. I mean, not those reclaims, but it's getting some strength. And look, just like I had said, this candle right here, where we had that big upside, it's now been filled. We had that quick downside. Now, if we get that fake out, once again, this is valid. It's just not going to be so attractive because our entry is going to be up here. Our stop loss is going to be down here. It's just not going to look as good unless we start targeting way higher targets. So this is not as interesting for a day trade anymore. And yeah, I would say I'm just going to stay in my longs here, my short here. This is just a game of patience. And once again, I did cover a lot of this stuff in a YouTube video, which I will probably release today, which I really recommend that you watch without skipping anything. Maybe watch it even twice, because the framework that I explain really, really helps. It helps with your mindset. It helps with a lot of things. So yeah, make sure you watch this video later today or tomorrow when it releases. It talks about patience as well, etc., etc. And yeah, that is it from me. I'm gonna read the chat one last time, and then I'll say goodbye to you guys. Check River 1 sec before you close. It had prior. Oh yeah, you're right. I was supposed to check River. I was supposed to check it and I forgot. So let's do this. River USDT.p. So River, I remember this because this was paying massive. It was paying a massive funding of 2% to the people who were long, I'm guessing. And I'm guessing that because these people probably got liquidated. Lots of people started buying this to just get paid on funding, and they got liquidated. Okay, now Bitcoin did have that. Let me open this here. Bitcoin now did have that reclaim, it seems, of the range. So again, wait for some closes of this on the 5 minutes. I do think now at this point we are going to close above it and we will see some more upside. But I don't know. I just don't like the risk to reward, and I'm already long. So if you're really craving a trade, wait a little bit. Maybe wait for what I was saying. Wait for that change in market structure like this. And then, you know, This can be okay. I would say at this point we wouldn't only trade to here. We would probably move more up. So yeah, I mean, you could have that nice trade, to be honest. This is definitely it's definitely valid, and you know what, maybe I'll take it too for a small trade just to prove the trade. Anyways, back to River. Yeah, had massive funding rate. Clearly lots of people got liquidated. Just upside, upside, upside. Typically when you see this, guys, just don't fall for it. Don't be the stupid guy who buys up here, because this tends to happen. This happened on light. This happened on so many things. And look, I mean, I shorted light here. Actually, this trade is making 9,000% now. And that was the exact same chart on light. So if we go back here, light was also paying so much funding at the time. It was just going up and up and up and up. Don't ask me how I literally traded the exact high. I just have this skill, to be honest. I'm sorry. No, I'm joking. But yeah, and then look at that. Boom. 4 hours. Massive drop. That was like 90% drop, I think. Something like that. Where can I see that? Anyways, I don't know. But that was a crazy drop. And that was just from a token that just kept on going up. River kind of seems similar. It looks a little bit better, but this big downfall in a couple of minutes, that kind of scares me. Now, I don't know what it does. I honestly don't know what light did at the time, but this is not really a healthy graph. I mean, look, this is up from $1 to $50. Unless these guys are the new Bitcoin or Ethereum, I don't know why this is pumping so much, to be honest. If someone wants to explain, I mean, go ahead. Now, is it nice to take some trades and try to get that trend? Absolutely, yes. We're a little bit late. I mean, again, this is up like 50x, 3,200%. So definitely don't go thinking of buying spot here. That's probably the stupidest thing. What I like to do, typically, because sometimes it works, is to actually try and time the tops of these things. And how can we do that? We can do that by trying to trade the ranges with small invalidations, which is exactly what I did on light. We can try to trade this, something like that, get into a short with a small invalidation. And then if this has that full reversal, which I think is totally possible, and eventually will come, just like all the altcoins. You know, we might try to attempt this 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Might get stopped out. Let's say I risk $200, $300, and I get stopped out 3 times, and I lose 1.5K. The moment where I catch this, I'm gonna make that 1.5K back and more, because I really do think that something. Too many alerts coming. I really do think that something like this is possible. And now I don't want to be wrong, but pretty sure I actually did this in like 1 or 2 tries. But I think it was the exact same setup, and I'm gonna check for you guys. I don't know where the price action is. I don't think I can even go see it. Okay, it doesn't let me see all the way back for some reason, but I'm pretty sure this was an SFP at the top. Pretty sure there was, yeah, I can see it right here. There was this candle, it had formed a range on the lower time frame, simple SFP, closed back below, I took the short, and that played out. I think River could do the same. I don't know, probably not. I don't think it's gonna happen here. I'm just giving you an idea. Obviously, the smartest thing would be to look for long trades. I'm just giving you that, like, the generate play. But yeah, as you can see, anchor view up, holding up very nicely here for that bounce, taking out all the people that were long from here. But yeah, to be honest, hard to say where we can look for a trade, because this is just going to the upside. There's no support. Support is way down at $3 on the monthly, nothing on the weekly. We have some levels on the daily, but this is really hard to trade. Like, the other option is that you just buy and wait for this to keep pumping. That's the other option. I don't do this. I only look for A+ setups. But you know, for these people that are really craving the trades, it's an option. Let's see. I'm not going to give you trades on this. I'm going to give you possible areas for a bounce. So for sure, possible area for a bounce is going to be 14. Do I think we're going to get that massive drop? It's possible. Should we use Elliott waves here as well? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could be interesting. 1. Let me remember how to do this. Okay. It could be. Let me check this again. If I'm doing this correctly, and once again, I'm going to review this after the live stream. 1, 2, length of 1 to the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This could actually still be a wave 3 actually, which could come to here. No, wait, I need to fix that. If this is the wave 3 still, look at the nice respect here. So we could think that this was the wave 3. The retracement on the wave 4. Could it be that? It's possible. Does it respect the rules? 1, 2, 3. Okay. I actually like this. I think we can be in a wave 5. This only works on logs. To be honest, this could go to $100. I'm just really doing a lot of thinking outside the box. Length of 1, 2, 3. Let me just check this again. We are the first target, which has not been respected. Unless maybe we go on the daily. No. So I do think it's possible to have an extension of this wave 5 towards $95. Maybe taking out 100 psychological and then having that drop. But I feel like we're coming close to that top of this thing of whatever it's doing. And yeah, so I could risk, to be honest, to try and short this here off of this SFP, or for example, off of a failed auction. I'm obviously not going to blindly short this, but I could try this. And again, this would be a very degenerate play because this can just keep on running. And then I can attempt another one at 95 to 100. So somewhere here. But that is only if we have that setup where you start ranging, you reject below this level, take the SFP or a failed auction, and then I can try to, do that. This might never happen though. This could just keep on pumping to 300, I mean, imagine all the people that try to short from $1 all the way up to $50. They got wrecked. But to be honest, I'm going to be interested in taking a short here because of trying to do the same thing that I did here, right? So if I can do this once again, I did it on light, I did it on Pippin. If I can do it on river, it's more of a personal thing. So I wouldn't recommend you do this, but if you want to give it a go and be a little degenerate, by risking 0.5% of your wallet, why not? Because it can pay off very well if you get it. So instead, more local resistance. I would say this is a bit too low, but this is definitely some nice resistance. Where if, for example, I can catch this trade and trade it back down to here, maybe I will take a long here. If not, you're going to have to be looking at... To be honest, that's it. Anchor Vivo has already been touched. Maybe here 25, but again, that's 50% away, which, as you can see, I mean, it happens that this has massive fall downs. Maybe we can look for a setup on the lower time frame. No, not even, because we already had that massive drop. So yeah, that's it. I'm either gonna try to short the exact high of this and get stopped out, which is very likely, or, you know, these are honestly the only two supports that you have, 1 and 2. I'd like to short it. Scared it would go to fucking 300 though. Yeah, that's the thing. Once again, as you can see, Bitcoin is not changing that structure. Or sorry, wait. I don't really consider this as a change in market structure because it looks more like a liquidity grab. All right, so if you really want to see that change, you want to see that candle close above, okay? So I don't really consider that, but again, if you want to be aggressive, maybe that is the market structure shift and you can try to trade the retest, something like that. But I don't like it because the context is that we're not above this high. So I don't like this and I'm not going to take this. And I do think we're probably going to keep going lower, but I don't know. I mean, again, I'm just making predictions. But yeah, that is everything for today. Pretty long live stream. I think it's an hour and a half. But yeah, I think I've covered everything. So remember, I go live every single day. If you want to join the Discord, you're going to find it in the description down here. And yeah, so I'll see you in the next live. Bye-bye. How do I end this?